Hey guys, welcome to Two Dudes Talking. I'm DJ Shroop. That's Dustin Ovitz. Yeah, let's talk about Holly Holm and Irene Aldana.
Head kick in the second there. I talked
this
about
Saturday from Fight Island. Look. Let's break it down though. I mean, look, neither one of them have any takedown
there's no
offense.
Aldana
has a 95% takedown defense. So. Look, I mean, we know where it's going. It's gonna be strikes.
Yeah.
Anyone gonna get knocked out here? I mean, you're thinking that it's a second round.
Second round head kick by Holm.
You think Holm possesses that kind of power and can knock Aldana out?
I hope so, because that's what I'm picking.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Holm possesses that kind of power. I think that she's a points fighter, and I think it's going the distance, and I'm picking Holm, outpointing. That's where the smart money is, and I think that's where it's going to end up going. I don't care about talking about any other fights. I mean, Condit, former interim champ, is leading off the prelims. Where's he been in forever? Probably nursing injuries or whatever, but fighting McCourt. The rest of the fights, the rest of the cards, garbage.
Hey, I would be surprised. One of those fights could be like
they're on paper. They're all kind of like, I'm not really interested in any of them, but I will watch. I'll be there, double screening it with some college football. But let's move on to bigger, more pressing news, and one Conor McGregor. And look, Conor McGregor, though he hasn't been fighting, has been keeping his name on the top of everybody's,
super relevant.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's keeping his name at the top of people's pages, and he released some DMs via Twitter that he was having with Dana, and Dana, the headline is, Dana says Conor breaks bro code by releasing DMs. I'm like, wait a minute, bro code? It's not like they were talking about some chick or you know what I mean? They weren't talking about some like sexual conquest. To bring bro code into it seems to be a bit odd to me. They're talking about fighting, and basically what the tweet or the DMs clearly say, and I want to get your take on this, is Conor's looking for fights. He's throwing everything at the wall. This is back in February. He's throwing it. He's up. How about Diego? Okay. Gaethje? Fine. How about this guy? How about that guy? And if finally lands on, okay, I'll fight. I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao. And Dana's like, I never heard of that. What's going on? He goes, you're the one that's negotiating. Dana's clearly, he's lying, right? He says, I don't have a fight. I'm not working on anything for Conor. It'll happen eventually. And Conor's like, wait a minute. We've been talking about this for a hot minute, and here's the stuff to prove it. I mean, my question to you is, do you think he broke any kind of guy code, bro code?
No, not at all. I agree with you. They weren't talking. Well, they might have been talking about that stuff, but he didn't disclose that.
I mean, these were screenshots, so at least within that time frame that he shared, there was nothing else but talking about fights, and it was clear that Conor McGregor was looking for fights. And Dana's like, I can't give you a fight during this time. He goes, how about May? I want to fight in May. And he goes, I don't have anything for you in May. There's small fights between this time and International Fight Week, which is in July.
Well, and he said he wanted to bring him back for a non-title fight.
And he wanted a fight in LA. He's like, I don't have an LA fight. I have a San Francisco fight. But again, the biggest fight's going to happen in Las Vegas at this time.
Yeah.
And so so Dana's lying. He's telling everybody he's retired. Nothing's going on here. I don't know. To me, that doesn't really hype Conor McGregor up. That doesn't really help promote Conor McGregor. It's not like we want him back kind of thing. I don't know what he's thinking there. And two, if you're on one of those cards in the May, June timeframe that, and headline it, and Dana just called small fights, How do you feel? You definitely feel like, hey, I guess I don't rank high in Dana's mind, but it also shows how much, I'm not going to say privilege. Brendan Schaub actually used the word privilege when it came to Conor McGregor and Dana White's relationship. I think it's more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? But it's definitely not, it's not privilege. He's not privileged to have this relationship. He's earned this relationship with Dana White, right? Like this access, I would say access, right? It's access that he has to Dana, and it's because he's earned that right.
Biggest draw the UFC has.
Yeah.
Or has,
and
whatever.
And he can call his shot. Now, Dana White pretending he doesn't know anything about the Manny Pacquiao stuff is interesting, because one, shouldn't they be involved in this negotiation, thinking that maybe they own Conor McGregor's fighting rights for a certain amount of time? Or was Conor's people so smart as to have a clause in there where it's like, well, hold on, he can do X, Y, and Z, or if he retires, he can do this,
do whatever he wants.
Right? It's also interesting that Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor share the same manager. That's why this fight is happening.
That's why it's going to happen.
That's why it's going to be in SoFi in Los Angeles. And that's because Manny does have a home here. This is when he's not a senator in the Philippines. He's here in LA training and spending time in the US. So I think the Manny Pacquiao fight's going to happen. I think Conor McGregor loses again. We'll break this down later. Manny Pacquiao's, he just beat Thurman. Thurman's no joke. Thurman's a fighter. He is a brawler, and he beat him. So if he's beating Thurman, he's going to walk through one Conor McGregor, because styles make fights. Styles make fights. Yeah.
Conor, he looked decent, but he looked outclassed.
Look, he's going to trick a lot of people into buying this fight.
Yeah, you.
No, I'm not buying this fight.
You're going? Go in person?
I'm not going to go in person. I'm not going to buy the fight. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to get tricked. Look, when I was getting free fights, I'd watch this all day long. I'm not getting this for free anymore, and I'm not going to pay for it. And no one's going to trick me into thinking that this is going to be a real fight. Conor McGregor can talk all the shit he wants and hype this fight up. Manny's not going to engage him on that, so it's not going to be as hyped, right? Manny's just going to write his name, and Manny's then going to knock Conor McGregor out. Done and done.
Yeah, I got to agree with you.
Yeah. Speaking of guys talking shit about each other, one, Israel Adesanya.
Stud.
Yes. And look, I thought it was going to go 5 rounds. It went 2. We were thoroughly wrong on that.
So wrong.
But I think that Costa had a lot of guys fooled in how skilled he was, and he earned his right there to a number 2 guy to a championship fight, and he didn't perform. The bright lights, I think, just they burn people out. And Israel Adesanya is a stud. He's the man, and I think he's going to sit at the top of that throne for a long, long time. But the real reason I'm bringing up Izzy is the fact that he dared to mention John Jones and fighting John Jones. Now,
look, real quick, just to his fight, I gotta say, dude's a stud. He completely outclassed his opponent. What a performance! So, wow, I was so wrong on that. But to your mention of Bones, is it just for the publicity? It's not like they're gonna fight.
I don't think it's out of the question for a catchweight, but Jones is moving in the opposite direction, training for heavyweight. So
that's what I'm saying. They're not going to catchweight.
And that's why Bones is saying, look, this guy's talking about me. He's pretending he's ever going to fight me. It's never going to happen. Guys put my name in their mouth.
Do you blame him?
So no, but you know what? Izzy, you're better than that. you don't need to talk about a legend such as John Jones. Focus on your own legacy. Focus on who you are, and worry about one Robert Whittaker, who has one more fight in between. I suspect Robert Whittaker is going to beat this Conlier guy, and then he's going to be fighting again to get a belt. Yeah. And I don't think Robert Whittaker is going to be as easy a fight as Izzy thinks he is going to be because he beat him the first time. So that's what I would focus on. I would focus on being middleweight champ and focus in on dominating that space.
Well, look, if he dominates that space, based on that performance, I don't know how he doesn't. He could become the best pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC while Bones is still training for heavyweight, pending how Bones does at heavyweight.
Then that's what I'm saying. Focus on the task in front of you, not guys that can, one, destroy you right now, but two, that there's no chance of it happening, not in the near future. No. And maybe not ever. If
he goes on a run where he wins like 6, 7 title defenses, 8, whatever it is in a row, you're talking the legends of the game immediately.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it's not to disrespect Izzy. I mean, he's had 100 plus fights in various martial arts
amazing
practices. Amazing career. But, you know, let's not – he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to Conor McGregor himself up and call people out.
That transition game.
Exactly. That transitions me to the next topic. Is I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Colby Covington. It looks like LeBron James responded. It was kind of like a, hey, you know what? Don't talk to me, kid.
I don't have time. Go away.
Yeah, I don't have time for you. Look, on the Below the Belt podcast, Brendan Schaub made the comment of, look, saying that LeBron James could beat Colby Covington in a fight is like saying Colby Covington can beat LeBron James in a slam dunk contest. I'm going to make the argument that does not apply because, and you correct me if you think that you disagree, but one cannot train to be a slam dunker. You just can't.
Wait. How tall is Colby?
I'm going to suspect he doesn't have enough ups to even slam dunk it with 2 hands off a springboard. I think he's 6'1" or so.
Look,
I'm 6'2". I've dunked 1 time in my life.
Yep.
In high school, and that was it. Look, you just can't train to be a slam dunker.
Well, you could to be able
to be able to compete in a slam dunk contest.
Yeah, that's different.
You're not going to be you even at a top level athlete cannot train well enough to do that. That's acrobatics. Yeah. Fighting, on the other hand, okay. Look, Dana White has made this point a million times in some form or another. If 2 guys were fighting on the street, you'd stop what you're doing and go watch them. That's to say that you would watch 2 unskilled morons hitting each other in the middle of the street, which we do a lot of because that's how World Star got its start. Tosh.0 uses that kind of footage a lot. We see it on the internet all the time. So using that argument, LeBron James could train. I'm going to make the argument as a top flight athlete could train and compete. I'm not saying he'd beat Colby Covington, but I'm saying that he could make it competitive if he trained in MMA for, let's give him a year. Got 1 year to prepare.
Okay. Then assuming it's solely preparation for the MMA fight, no basketball, nothing.
Right.
Okay. So you're saying in a 3-round fight, it'd go the distance.
I am saying in a 3-round fight, I think you're going to get 2 good rounds. I still hesitate
in the second round.
I still hesitate to say that LeBron James could beat Colby Covington because I'm not trying to disrespect a guy who has gotten into the octagon and has gone through some wars and some battles.
Yeah.
But I will not say that, like my boy Brendan said, it's not going to be a 10-second fight. Like he's like, oh, that would be a 10-second fight. Even right now, it wouldn't be a 10-second fight. It might be 30 seconds.
Well, first of all, LeBron, forget training. Let's just take. He's a massive human being.
Yes.
He's 6'9". He's huge.
And he's physically fit.
He's like 250, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a brick house.
He's a tight end.
Yeah, actually. It'd be like trying to punch a cement wall.
Yeah.
That can move.
Yeah.
Look, I agree with you. If you give LeBron or any top flight elite athlete a year to train solely, nearly anything actually, I would say that they have a chance to hold their own. I'm not saying he'd win. I'm not saying it would be close. It might be, he gets 9 every round and Colby's getting 10 or he's 8 every round, whatever. But
yeah,
I'd give him a round. I'd say he gets out of the first round.
I think so too. And you know what? We would reevaluate that six months into training. Let's see where LeBron is.
Well, yeah, he started talking to his training buddies. Yeah,
I just think when you're an elite athlete and you're given time and resources, the sky's the limit. It's like giving a genius, a laboratory and say, the resources are there for you. Go invent or create something. That genius is going to come out with something, right? A Stephen Hawking's going to come out with something.
You're right. Look, like LeBron is a massive human being. As you said, he's a tight end or a very, 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 very well-built wide receiver. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that we've seen an athlete like him in a very, very, very long time or ever.
Yeah.
I didn't say basketball player. I said athlete.
Absolutely. He's an athlete. So let's make no bones about it. I mean, Colby, just move on. Go to your MAGA rallies. Don't wear a mask.
He wasn't the host for the debate.
Shut up, man. Anyway, moving on. You know what? Just wake me up when it's the World Series.
Well, the big question is, what do you think of this 3-game wild card series that they've done? They've expanded the playoffs to 16 teams, and it's 3 games that I think they're all at the home field, or the higher seed stadium.
Yeah,
you've got teams like Milwaukee, which are under or sub 500, that are playing, which I think is weird. But what do you think? And there's no days. I think it's 3 games, 3 days.
With all the changes, the new process has been utterly confusing.
Yeah.
Well, who's playing now? When are they playing? What's the series going to go? I think the MLB and all of the networks have done a piss poor job of explaining to a sports fan, this is how it works. I think that far too many times, look, and we've worked for a sports network, working at FS1. I've had these conversations in the damn conference room. We need to explain X, Y, and Z. And our argument always is, they're sports fans. They get it. They'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, they won't, because 90% of sports fans don't know shit. They just don't. They think they know. But you know what? There's also the mainstream folks, right? And that's where you tip up in terms of ratings, is getting the mainstream people that wouldn't normally watch all season long. You get them now.
Yes.
You lose them when you confuse them.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But as you know, or read or remember, baseball regionally is or was huge.
Yes.
So the regional fans, the Dodger fans know when the Dodgers are playing, the Braves fans know when the Braves are playing, et cetera, et cetera. But yesterday, there were 8 games, baseball games, on all playoff games in the wild card or whatever you want to call this round. And it's the first time in, I think, ever that there's been 8 games on. I loved it because it started at 9 a.m. And as you know, I'm a baseball nut. So I had it on in the background most of the day on mute. And it was great to, some of the baseball was not great to watch, but I just love baseball. But for the average Joe fan, they have no idea what time the game started.
Exactly. And that's why I say, piss poor job of explaining what's going on, when it's going on. Look, I follow the MLB on Instagram. They didn't really do a good job. Look, that's where a lot of people are getting their information now, right? They're getting it from social media. If you're not doing a good job on social media, explain hey, this game starts this time, this game starts that time, you failed your fans.
Yeah,
And
well,
I think that's why I say wake me up when it's the World Series, because I'm like, wait, who's playing where and what's doing where and who? Like, I don't get it. And yes, baseball's a regional sport for sure. I remember the data. I remember the conversations.
huge.
You know, worked together on a few projects with MLB. Very, very of all sports being tribal, that is the most tribal of sports. However, there are teams like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, that reach nationally, and I should have saw a lot more advertisements about the Yankees and the Dodgers playing in the evening in prime time than any, because you know what? Then I'll pick up on, look, I'm not watching the Devil Rays or the Rays, whatever they're called now.
Rays.
I'm not watching them. I should know, like I said, as a sports fan who watches every single sport, I should be able to rattle off when a team's playing that, in fact, there were 8 games. Can't do any of that. And I think they've done, like I said, a piss poor job of helping the fan understand it. And I think when you do all these things, you need to be very elementary. And there's ways of doing it without talking down to the fans.
Well, here's my big problem with this is a general sports comment, not specifically baseball. And I know you've run into this too. And this just grinds my gears. You're recording something because you're not home or you're out and about, or it's at 2 o'clock in the morning when the UFC actually used to be live from wherever it was. And, you know, the programmer morons didn't set the timer long enough in the guide. So your recording stops while the fight or the game or whatever is still going. And I'm not talking about extra time or it goes to extra innings or overtime or whatever it is. You know, I can't tell you how many times years ago I would record a UFC event, hit play, and like I'd miss a fight or two because, you know, 3 or 4 of the fights went the distance. And only because, you know, it went from UFC to curling at 2 a.m. I was like, fix your crap. And it happened last night because the Yankee game had a rain delay. So the Dodger game was put on the Deuce, which is ESPN2 for those that care. Here, anyway. But if you went to the guide, it said UFC like top 10 knockouts. So I had to explain to more than one person to be like, it's on ESPN2. And they were like, that's not what the guide says. I'm like, I understand.
But the problem with the guide is that's submitted by some coordinator.
I know.
A week before. Someone's there typing and sending that off to Tribune Media if they're still maintaining it. Okay? Look, I mean, regardless of that, I mean, I think you texted me that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, because I'm watching the Yankee game and I'm hearing the commentators say, oh, hey, if you're looking for this game, it's going to be here, right? Go to ESPN2. But that's only if I'm watching and listening, okay? They should have had a crawl. Look, you could ask me all day long about how to properly promote this. I would have said you put a crawl on ABC and you put something at the bottom, even though those games are not being televised over there. Hey, go watch ESPN and our little brother ESPN2 to go watch the baseball games. Yeah. I think it's dumbfounding how the company that I work for, and many other companies do this, they fail to cross-promote and they fail to really, really engage the consumer where they are. Dumbfounding. But anyway, let's move on. Because we can complain about this a million times over, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. The Lakers and Miami Heat. I predicted 6 games. Lakers in 6. Yeah, you were thinking I just want the Lakers to win. I mean, do you think it's a sweep? Do you think it goes 7? Where do you think it's going to land?
Well, look, it really depends. Based on what happened last night with Adebayo and Dragic going down.
Yep.
I don't know how the Heat survived that. Dragic was having this season of his life, and Adebayo.
And Butler tweaked his ankle too.
Butler tweaked his ankle, but he finished the game and he said he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how they survived at this point. If the Lakers are healthy and they play like they played last night, it didn't start well, as you know. Like halfway through the first quarter, I was texting you freaking out. And you were like, "Come have another drink." I'm like, "No, it's Cox." But look, I don't know how you survive the onslaught of that Lakers team if you're not at full strength. I mean, even Jimmy Butler said in the postgame, he said we had to play perfect and we didn't play close to it.
Yeah. I mean, look, even at full strength, I don't think they can handle the Lakers. I think Anthony Davis, I texted you this, needs to take it personally that everybody was on the Bam wagon and they were like, this is the future, this is the guy. And AD sitting over here saying, I'm not some old man veteran that is being put out to pasture. I am the NBA current star, and I need to show this new kid that's not how it works around here. I'm the man. And I said, that's the only way the Lakers really dominate is having AD dominate Bam. No one's holding LeBron down. LeBron's going to be able to do whatever the hell he wants. Jimmy Butler's a formidable opponent, but he's not going to be able to slow down LeBron.
But look, I like how Jimmy attacked LeBron in the first quarter. Like, he didn't let him rest. LeBron was guarding him, and he just went right at him. I was like, wow, you haven't seen somebody do that in a long time.
It's because it's the only way you can really, really get after LeBron. But like I said, I just don't think he has enough to contain LeBron. I think where we rest is, how do the other Lakers do, right? Do we get, is Caruso going to step up? I mean, I think Caldwell Pope, I was like, he was Caldwell Pope was just shooting things up and missing and bricking left and right. And I'm like, I'm like, this guy thinks he's the third dude, that he's going to sneak in and be the sleeper NBA star, right? In the finals. Yes. He's going to get some sort of like, LeBron and AD were great, but Caldwell Pope, he's the man.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP or close to a big contract coming up for Caldwell Pope.
Never gonna happen.
Well,
maybe the big contract, but definitely not the MVP.
Caruso's the number 3. I think people try to get Kuzma in there. Nah, I think it's Caruso. I think the AD and LeBron, you know what you're getting out of them. I think Caruso is the guy. He's the pure shooter. He's the hustler guy. There's always a guy on a team, right? Like a Steve Kerr guy who's just going to grind and just make sure that all the little things are done, right? But I'm still holding the Lakers in
6.
Yeah, I'm still holding the Lakers in 6, but if they come out and dominate them again in game 2, then I'm seeing it more to 5. I don't think they're sweeping. But LeBron's mad, man. LeBron was talking about how he lost to the Mavericks, back in 2014? Yeah, like whenever he lost, against the Mavericks, and he's like, that still burns him. So he doesn't want that feeling again.
Well,
so I think it's just a matter of when are the Lakers going to win. Yeah, when are the Lakers going to win? I think that's really the argument. And is AD going to stick around to try to repeat?
Again, I hope so. It might be the Lakers in 5 or 6. You might be right, because they might just take a game off.
Yeah.
They're just like, nah, okay, fine. We're going to give you this one. We'll focus on the next one.
Yeah. Speaking of teams in LA and former coaches and all of that, Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Fired from the Clippers, moves on to the 76ers, who were actually looking at D'Antoni, right? They wanted D'Antoni, and they were offering picks and all of this stuff. And they went after Rivers, which
I don't understand the D'Antoni love.
Well, look, it's people are in love with that offense, right? That run and gun. People are in love with it. It may not win championships, but it does put butts in the seats because it's exciting.
How'd Houston do the last few years?
I'm sure they sold arenas out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, it may not win championships, or maybe a small tweak to it may win a championship. But
we'll find out.
Look, Doc Rivers hasn't proven that he's a formidable coach either.
He was in Boston.
I mean, he's proven that he can lose and miss the playoffs.
He won in Boston.
I mean,
just saying.
He did kind of have a big 3 in Boston.
Yeah, that's very true. But he still won. Coach gets.
I mean, he had a super team in Boston. I fail to see why Doc Rivers gets a job immediately. I just fail to see it. I mean, maybe because they feel like the 76ers need a societal shift in their locker room, and that Doc Rivers is the kind of guy that can do it.
Maybe.
I mean, Joel Embiid is a cancer in the locker room and not a great teammate. That's been well documented. So maybe he's there to figure out, is Joel the guy that's going to stay with this team, or are we going to look to move on from him? And maybe they just need a fresh set of eyes on it.
I mean, look, bringing in a new coach.
They got rid of Butler, and look what Butler's all he's done is win.
Look, they got to bring in a new coach because they had to. And
And Simmons, I mean, that guy can't do anything.
I mean, what, are you going to get rid of him too? What are you going to get for him? Nothing. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Who's left in this cupboard? I mean, Simmons and Joel Embiid. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I think you got to bring in a new coach, have him get fresh
Right.
eyes at what the hell's going on there, reevaluate the talent that you have, and go from there. Because it obviously didn't work under your old coach, even though you might have immense talent or you might not. But Doc's been a championship coach. He's gotten the Clippers to the playoffs. He's coached really, really high-level talent, both with the Clippers and when he was in Boston. So let him come in, analyze it, give his opinion, try and fix it. And if he does, great. If he doesn't, you say, all right, thanks, that was fun.
Good luck. Good luck in Philadelphia. That's all I got to say, Doc.
Yeah, they booed Santa Claus.
They're not as – I don't think Philly fans are as hardcore about the 76ers as they are the Eagles, so.
Oh, I agree with that.
But the media is tough. And they're not gonna coddle you like they do in LA. So get ready. Pull your bootstraps up.
Philly's very different. It's the city of not brotherly love.
I don't think he's gonna have a good time in Philly, but who cares? Philly's inconsequential to anything.
If you win, anywhere you go, if you win, you're a hero.
Well, let's talk about Philly's 3 years away from being 3 years away. So we'll move on from.
So what you're saying is by 2030 they should have it figured out?
Maybe, or I don't think they ever will. But anyway, that's all I got. You have anything else?
I did, but do I remember at this point? No.
Nope, because you're already drinking.
I do have one more thing. Debate.
Yeah. Yes.
I know you loved them so much.
I watched every minute of it. I watched I watched the debates themselves, and I watched the post game.
The post debate.
Look, Trump's an embarrassment to this country. That's all I have to say about it.
I happen to agree with you. He's a Agent Orange came off as a schoolyard bully, but God, he was just grumpy. He was like, "You just made a statement." I'm like, "So did you?" But I really wish they had a mute button, not just for Trump, just for both. Like it should just be like, we're muting you. You're gonna talk. When you're done, we'll mute you. You talk.
The problem with that is, so on CNN they talked about this very thing. The reason why they can't is it's an antiquated system, and the Commission for Presidential Debates is so far behind the times that it would take them another 20 years to get there. Now, maybe with some external pressure they'll get there, but do you think that the Trump or Biden side would agree in the rules debate that happens before, that they would actually abide by those rules or approve those rules? I don't think so. I think the Trump administration or Trump folks are saying, we're not putting a mute button on that. Nope.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be another dumpster fire in 14 days or 11 days, whatever long
15th,
it is.
Right, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm not watching. I didn't want to watch the last one. I got forced to watch most of it, and it was painful. Like, it made me uncomfortable. That was bad.
Look, I feel that it's your civic duty as an American citizen to watch, even though it's a dumpster fire, to watch the democratic process unfold. Unfortunately, we have a moron for a president who has been nothing but an embarrassment. And if you woke up from a 4-year coma to see what's going on now, you'd be like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on?
Put me back under.
But this is where we are. There are still people that are like, that's still my president, I'm voting for him. And I would say, fuck you, you're an idiot. Because if you think that guy is okay running if he can't even get through a debate, what do you think he's doing in the White House? Holy shit. And I just think it's sad that he can't even denounce white supremacy. And that really pisses me off.
There was a lot that really...
You're given every opportunity to just say, those guys are jerks and I hate them. Nope. He just goes, sure. The fuck, sure. Stand down and stand by?
Well, you know why. You already know why.
Because they're all dumb.
He wants to vote. They vote for him. They're ardent Trump supporters.
But it doesn't matter because he's already trying to delegitimize the election process. It's every soon-to-be dictator tries to do, every authoritarian tries to do. They delegitimize the election process, and they say, nope, those are not legitimate results. I'm not leaving. I'm your leader for life. That's how this stuff gets started. And if you think that it can't happen in our country, it could happen anywhere. It happened in freaking Germany. It's happened in many other countries. It's happening down in Brazil. It's happening everywhere. So if you don't think it can happen here, yes, and Venezuela. If you don't think it can happen here, you are sorely mistaken. And you know what? If that happens, God help us.
I'm moving in with you.
I might move down to Cabo. I just would want to get out of here.
I might move to Canada.
So fast.
Thinking Canada. Well, look, there's a lot of things just about the election results real quick. The fact that the ultimate decider of the election results to confirm them is the United States Supreme Court is all well and good. But for the fact you remember that if and when he gets his appointment through, you, Mitch McConnell, asshole, I think it makes it 6-3.
Yeah.
Trump's people? Who do you think?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think they're conservative versus liberal. But I think when it comes down to the Constitution and when it comes down to deciding what's best for our country, I'd like to hope that these Supreme Court justices like Clarence Thomas, Justice Roberts, though conservative, would still side on the country, on the side of the country.
Well, they'll side on whatever they think the results are. They think the results are in favor of Trump, they'll side. If they think it's Biden,
I don't think they will. I think I don't think that that's the case. I trust the judges. I trust the Supreme Court. I really do, because Clarence Thomas owes nothing to the Republicans. He owes nothing to Trump. Same with Justice Roberts, right? Yep. Those two guys, yes, are conservative, but they don't owe anything to that guy. So I think saying that they're in the, but just that's what I'm saying. I don't think that those guys are in the bag.
Sorry, 3-3.
Right. Look, let's see what happens. I don't think that Trump is going to be able to sue his way into staying into the White House. I think that there are many smart people out there right now doing some scenarios, some think tanks out there that are doing option A, option B, option C. So hopefully we will be in a good place. But you know what? He's stressing the system big time. And I do appreciate that, because a good system does need a stress test. And unfortunately, we got a 4-year stress test. Yeah, hopefully we won't have to go through this again, but there's a lot of things that we now know we need to fix. And if and when Biden and a Democratic-leaning Senate gets in there, hopefully they'll fix it. But you know what? I'm not going to bet on it either, because politicians, like I said, athletes are going to athlete. Politicians are going to politician.
Well, I agree with that. But it would be interesting if, the House, the Senate, what have you, completely flips, due to local elections. Because then if Trump refuses to leave, all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden his support structure in the House Senate is gone.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, get out.
We'll see. Download TikTok while you can, guys. Anyway, I'm DJ Schroep. That's Dustin Ovitz. Let us know what's up.
Go Dodgers.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Go Dodgers. Go Lakers. Go Holly Holm, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we out.
You got to pick somebody.
Peace.